today?
Facebook.
Yeah? All right.
Going on the events page.
Cool. What intrigued you to come to this class in particular?
Her.
Yeah? All right. Have you ever made...
There's a cooking class. Well, first found a painting class.
Uh-huh.
I thought she'd be more interested in painting.
But you want to learn how to cook something today.
She got a cooking one.
Awesome. Well, Andrew and I cooked together when he was younger, and my boys and I've got 3 biologic sons and 2 stepsons, and so cooking with kids is one of my favorite things to do. So if you guys want to come closer, that's fine. You can bring chairs over. I'm happy to have you do that. That way you can kind of see what we're doing. I am recording it. That way I can share it in the event since, we're here. And we'll just kind of start simple. All right.
Yeah.
And so Andrew's going to help, and we may not make all of this since there's just
Right.
a small amount, but I can send some of the things home with you today.
Yay.
Okay. Do you like all of these veggies? Do you think?
I don't like avocados.
Okay.
And
Well, have you had guacamole before?
yeah.
All
Do
right.
you like
So,
that? I mean, it's
Not
not
that
just
much.
avocados.
all right. We're going to make several different things today. So we're going to start with our
She doesn't
simple.
like anything too spicy, although she likes flaming hot Cheetos. in
I
her
don't
sandwiches.
either. So we have jalapenos, but we do very minimal jalapeno in it. Okay.
Yay.
So I can't burn my face off either. So we're gonna do that. Okay. So we're gonna start kind of teaching about ingredients. Okay. Do you know how to pick a good avocado, Dad?
A little squishy, but not too squishy, I guess.
Color gradient. So the
Oh.
first thing is bright green, not ready yet, and it's firm. And then we want to
Yeah.
get a little bit darker green, so it's a little bit more green than, or a little bit blacker than it was before, and it's got a little squish to it.
But you want a little bit of green to it?
Yes
The
and no.
brighter
If
green?
you want to cook with it today, if you want to make
Oh.
something with it, you want it to be almost
all
purple.
brown.
Mm-hmm. If they're shriveled up and starting to pull away at the stem, we don't want that because
Too
it means
ripe.
it's going to be too ripe and it might be bruised and ugly. Some of these might be bruised and ugly, but we have enough that we'll be able to make some
Mhm.
good stuff with. So I like to cook with Roma tomatoes because they have fewer seeds and less of the gushy juice and a lot more of the tomato flesh, and they're really flavorful, easy to cut. And mango for our mango salsa we're gonna make.
Ooh.
This one might be a little less ripe. I have a couple that are a little softer, so you want to be able to push your thumb in it. This one's pretty
Kinda
firm
same
still.
as-
Mm-hmm.
Firmness is
Yep.
avocado.
And then I use rainbow peppers because they're sweeter. A lot of people just know the green bell peppers. These are not spicy, they're sweet, and they add a lot of color and crunch and flavor to food.
So that's not a bell pepper?
This is a bell pepper, but it's
Oh.
a rainbow bell pepper.
What's
Yep.
that?
So it's just a little sweeter than the green.
Okay.
And all of these start off.
But they're all rainbow?
Yeah.
Just
They
everything
have.
that's not green?
I like
Yeah.
the yellow one.
You want the yellow one in there?
Her
We can
favorite
cut the
color.
yellow. Perfect. And then, limes and lemons. Those are to give us a little bit of the zest that we want. And we have olive oil, garlic, and salt and pepper, and then our onions. So pretty simple ingredients, right? Nothing too complicated. You don't want a mushy onion.
Like what color onion? Are you going to do all of them? Or?
They all have a different
Right.
part to play. So the red onion is what we use in our pico de gallo and guacamole. And just because we're gonna kind of use what we start with to make everything, we're gonna start simple and build on it. We'll probably only use the red onion today. You can use the yellow onion if you're making any of these dishes, if it's what you have. The white onion's a little bit sharper and spicier. So the red onion is gonna give us more of the flavor that we want today. So we're gonna cook with that, but you can use any of them. You can squeeze these if you want because we're going to peel the layers. These are perfectly ripe. They're not squishy. They're not gross. They're not going to be
Still want
moldy
some
in the
fir-
middle.
you still want them firm?
Yep. And then cilantro. Some people don't care for cilantro too much. I'll put kind of what I put in. It depends on your genetics if you can taste cilantro as soapy or not. And so it's just one of those different flavor
I like
things.
cilantro, but-
So
I don't know if I like it.
I
Tried cilantro.
put it in water. You can store it at home this way to keep the leaves fresher so it doesn't get too wilty.
It looks like a plant.
It is, yeah. It's an herb that you can grow in the garden. And the way
My Nana grows
Uh-huh.
a lot of herbs.
does she? Awesome. We go out in the backyard. This is bought. I didn't have mine. Mine died. I'm growing the new sprouts right now to make more. But when you grow it, you can just go cut one of the stems off or pull the leaves off and cook with it right out of your garden. So it's a wonderful thing to grow and pretty easy to grow. So the first thing Any allergies to anything on the table? Okay, perfect. Love to hear that. The first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna start with our pico, all right? And so Andrew's friend, Nick, and his dad are actually the ones who taught us how to make this at home. So we're gonna start by peeling the onion. So you can take the loose peel off here, and then I'll show you how I get the onion ready. My other son let me borrow his special knives today. He's like, just don't make them dull. I'm like, don't plan on it.
Special knives.
Mm-hmm, yeah. So chef knives, okay, so they're big. And what you wanna do is you wanna cut the root and the stem. And they say that if you cut the root first, it's not as spicy when you're cutting it, so you don't cry as much. So I cut both ends off. That gives us a nice starting point, and just get rid of those. And then you see it usually will peel, and I make the knife peel, so it takes only the layer off that we don't want to eat because it's papery.
Yeah, I used to not like onions like pretty much anything, but
Yeah, it's an acquired taste, and then when you learn how to,
now, I especially like cooked onions now,
Mhm.
not anything too raw
right,
or by itself.
it can be definitely an acquired taste. So for our recipes, the first recipe we're gonna make is the pico, and we're just gonna use a quarter of the red onion. So what I'm gonna do, I cut it in half. We'll set that aside, and then we're gonna cut that half in half again, and that gives us our quarter. I'm gonna have it over. You wanna dice it for me?
Sure.
All right. And then the other one's gonna go in the blender for our salsa, okay? And I don't cut this much smaller simply because I want it to be a little chunky in the salsa.
Okay, you just put that whole thing in there.
Yep, I just kind of separate it like so.
And that's for the.
That's for pico, which is gonna
Oh,
be the
what's this for?
chunkier. This is
Oh,
for a
salsa.
blended salsa. Mm-hmm. And so the next ingredient that we're gonna work with is our tomatoes. And I usually, for pico, let me give you a little to put those in when you're done. It's a little bit of a chunkier, fresh thing that you can put on chicken, steak, veggies, or just eat with a chip. And it's also the base of guacamole. So that's what we're gonna kind of turn it into.
Use
Mhm.
pico and then,
Yep.
okay.
And so I'm gonna show you how I cut my Roma tomatoes. This first recipe with a quarter onion is gonna take 3 or 4 of the Roma tomatoes for us, okay? So this is a knife technique. So you're gonna have to have dad help with this when you do your own cooking, okay? Because the knives are pretty sharp, and you want it to be sharp so it'll cut through the tomato nicely. And in order to get nice uniform tomato slices, we cut horizontally, avoiding our fingers.
I've seen this technique for onions too.
Mm-hmm, you can do that. I'm not very good at that yet.
So you see how she's not cutting all the way through?
Yep, I leave it so it's
holds it
kind of like a
together.
flower. Mm-hmm.
And then it holds it together, and then
And you can just kind
you
of,
have the nice chunks.
and if you miss one, that's okay, because you can go back and cut it later. So, and I do like to use the whole tomato when I cook, just simply because it gives us lots of good flavor. So when you have this left over, carefully just cut it again. I'll give those to you to work on. All right, so there's all kinds of kitchen gadgets out there, but you can kind of use the blade of your knife to move food if you're careful, okay? They have kitchen scrapers that you can lift with that aren't as sharp, so that might be a safe thing for you to use if you want to do something like that, okay?
Or the cutting board itself.
Mm-hmm. You can lift the cutting board over. They've made so many cool things. So the next thing, I didn't bring fresh garlic today, otherwise I would have showed you my garlic smash technique, but it's on the video on the Facebook page, so you can watch how they do it, and that pops the garlic apart,
Yeah.
okay? So I'm
The
gonna,
whole clove. You talk about the blade of the knife and then you just smash it.
yep. So I'll put 2 or 3 cloves of garlic in because I like garlic. And it's about a teaspoon per clove if you want to use a rough estimate. Okay? This is a big spoon, so we're not using the whole spoon. All right. Then the next part of the basic pico is cilantro. So I'm going to show you how I cut cilantro so that you can have it be small and tasty and still use the whole leaf. So we're just going to grab a nice little chunk out of here. We're going to take it, we're going to lay it together, then we're going to fold it in half. Okay, we're going to bundle it so it's like so. And this way we can get most of it into our cuts. And this is one where you kind of want to slice it, not crush it. So depending on how sharp your knives are and how good your knife skills are, that makes a difference. So we're just gonna chop all the way down here. All of these veggies were pre-washed. I went ahead and did all that before you guys got here, so we're not eating anything dirty. And if you like it a little smaller, feel free to give it a little bit more chops, okay? So this has taken maybe 5 minutes so far, right? And Andrew's, you know, he's working on the tomatoes for us. All right, so we're gonna stick this over here.
So it was 1/4 of an onion with 3 Roma tomatoes. Total.
Yep. Cilantro,
As much as you
2
like, I
cloves. Yeah, as much as you like, exactly. Some people don't like it at all, so they won't put it at all. But I would favor using parsley or some other green just to give it a little bit of color.
guess. What you doing, like cilantro, parsley, or something?
You can chop up some fresh flat parsley. So we're gonna use the juice of half of a lime in this. One way to get the lime juice moving so that it's easy to squeeze is to roll it, or you can use a lime juicer. So
I've also heard microwaving is really good.
especially if they're hard. These are nice and soft, so I didn't feel that we needed to do that. So what we have is just, I'll let you squeeze. All right, we're gonna do.
I like to get it right up against my palm and then the points of my fingers and
Give it a good squeeze. Nice.
get most of it just
Yeah.
like that. And just kind of rotate it around until you think you got it all.
And then the last part,
Is the lemons for squeezing too?
those are for squeezing. We're gonna use those in the mango,
mango
salsa.
one, yeah.
So the next is a jalapeno. Can we do just a 1/4?
Yeah, we can do a 1/4.
Yeah. Do you want a glove? There's gloves over there. Just to keep it, since you're not.
Oh
using
yeah,
the
if
sink.
you don't want it on the other. Yeah.
Yeah. So just on that table over there, there's gloves. So that's
So
gonna
the
be.
seeds are what's spicy.
And he's gonna show you how to
If you
scrape
take
them
the
out.
seeds out, then it's not as bad.
Yeah.
I didn't know
And
that.
if you want it really spicy, you leave the seeds in.
If they don't, I can do it. The next thing we're gonna do is add a little bit of salt and pepper. I have one that's pink
Oh.
Himalayan salt and pepper in one, just to make it easy. And so we just kind of put enough that you think, it's good, right? Kind of to your taste. You can always taste it later and add more, right? So the other kind of ingredient that people don't know about is you can put a little teeny tiny bit of olive oil in your salsa to just kind of make it a little shinier and just give it kind of, it mixes with the
Pico
lime
too, or
juice.
just salsa?
You can use it in the pico, you can use it in the mango salsa. I don't put it in guacamole, so I'm not gonna put it here,
Right.
okay? So he's gonna slice the, you wanna come over here and slice the jalapeno on camera? Show folks how to get rid of the seeds if they don't want them, and yeah.
Just get these veins chopped at the top, and most of the time they just peel out after that. Just kind of clean them out with your thumb. These are really crispy still, so they kind of want to shatter.
Oh,
Nothing wrong with crispy though.
It smells good in here.
Yeah.
That's what I love about this cooking at home.
And especially if you cook with the blender salsa that we're gonna make, you just add a little bit of salt to it if you're gonna cook with it, and it smells great while it's in the skillet or in the oven.
Yeah. It's a great thing that you can use if you make a good amount of it. You can make crock pot chicken with your own homemade salsa. And that way you can have the amount of seasoning and spice that you want, and you know it tastes good, and you know what the ingredients came from. The other thing that you can cook with it is Mexican rice, right?
Mhm.
You can use that as the foundation for Mexican rice. We're not doing that because I don't have a cooking hood right here. It would be too much for right now. I tried to make blackened fish tacos back here, my first cooking class this summer, and the smoke about ran everybody out with the cayenne pepper.
What were you cooking with? Like a hot plate or
I
something?
had a hot plate, yeah, set up back here. So there is we have a full.
Guess if the weather's nice, you could do it outside.
That's right. That's exactly right. So we may be doing some tailgate type recipes this fall as well, so that might be a good thing. So the reason Andrew is wearing gloves is because jalapenos are really spicy, and the oils on the jalapenos might even go through a glove. So I still recommend washing your hands before you touch your face or anything else. But if it's a really spicy pepper, you feel your fingertips go numb and tingly because it can be that spicy. Capsaicin is chemical in a pepper that people use in icy hot or different topical remedies to help with aches and pains, and people eat it also if they're having a little bit of pain. So you want to just put like part of that in, just a little bit of it. There you go. And we're gonna stir that together and just kind of show what a stirred together, quick and dirty pico de gallo looks like, okay? So this is easy. We have in here red onion, cilantro, tomatoes, garlic, lime juice, and a little bit of jalapeno. So, do you want to try this on a chip?
Yeah, chips are over there.
Yep, I'll put a little of it in one of those cups for you. I did put salt and pepper. Yep, forgot to mention salt and pepper. I'll do this for you. All right.
You do.
You guys can go ahead and dip in and try it, see what you think. So when flavors come together, we call it marrying. When they get married, it gets the flavors even better. This is one that I think is served best fresh because the onions start to overtake if you store it too long.
Yeah, it doesn't stay long.
Yep, so I like to serve this one better, fresh.
I wasn't super hot
Yummy.
jalapenos since it was so crispy, but
I don't know.
I hope the jalapenos not too hot. It was really crispy.
All
There were a
right,
lot of seeds,
what do you
but-
think? You like it?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so if you guys like this a whole lot, I can send this home with you plain, and we can make this again to put in our guacamole and mango salsa, so you can try that too. What do you think?
Mhm.
You want to save this for you guys?
Yeah.
We can do that. All right, so that's our fresh pico de gallo. Use it on anything: fish tacos, chicken, carne asada. You can put some radishes in it on a carne asada taco, and it's amazing. So there is that. Next, we're gonna finish our blender salsa, because this is the one that you can use to braise meat in, make your Mexican rice with. And so with this, what I do is I just half the tomatoes here, cut them in half or quarters, just so that they go into the blender nicely with each other. Still the same amount. The one,
Still 3 tomatoes
Mhm.
and one quarter onion.
yep, because the onion can be really overpowering. If you don't care for the flavor of onion very much, you can use green onions, and it's a little less bitter.
I don't like tomatoes, but I like this.
Yeah, no, you usually don't. I don't know why. Because you like
All right, we're gonna put our squeeze of
ketchup and
lime in there.
spaghetti sauce and all
Right.
kinds of
Grab
things that
garlic.
have tomatoes in them.
The garlic, yep.
You have a spoon already for it.
Yes, I think I'm stirring with it here, so go ahead and use a different one, yeah. All right, again, I like garlic, and it's really good for you, so I tend to be a little generous with the garlic. You guys like the amount that's in that?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. And then our cilantro, we don't really have to cut it up because we're gonna let the blender do the work. And again, we're gonna grab some good sprigs there. And then we're gonna add the rest of this jalapeno that Andrew already cut up. And I am gonna wash my hand again here. So, what else in this one?
Lime.
I did half
you
of the
did?
lime juice.
Lime,
Yep.
onion, tomato, garlic, cilantro,
Salt and pepper.
salt, and pepper. Yeah.
All right, so I'm gonna let him run the blender back there. I don't have it plugged in. If you want to bring it over to the wall where it's plugged in. So we've got our nice salt and pepper. And again, like Andrew said, if you're gonna cook with it, be careful if you're gonna use salted broth or what have you. There is an outlet right under this table. There's a extension cord. There was. Am I missing it? It's right here. Got it. So it's in there. Alright. But yeah, this is, it turns a little pale. It's not as red as the grocery store salsa because we're using fresh onion or fresh tomatoes.
And it'll come out frothy too.
Yeah, and it
Just let
looks
it
kind of
sit.
foamy.
When you buy the stuff at the store, what do they, how does it stay red then?
I feel like they use different tomatoes that are a little maybe more red. They don't list the ingredients as being artificial. Go ahead. So this is more pink salsa.
And after you let it sit for a minute, it'll defroth and it'll just turn red again, but it will still be like it's a paler red, and it's not gonna have the big chunks.
Right.
I think they do a lot of like they stew the tomatoes and
Yeah,
add it at the
I
very
believe those are
end.
cooked tomatoes.
Mm.
Yeah, because this is just a fresh, quick. You can put it in that one, I think.
Best for cooking, but also good for dipping and stuff too.
All right. So as you heard, this is fresh blender salsa. It's pink and frothy. The frothiness will settle down, but it's really excellent for cooking in, adding it as a flavor to other sauces and ingredients. So it smells really good. You can smell it. If you have a new chip, feel free to dip in there. If you want to get another little cup, we can put some in a cup for you.
Okay. That's
It's also good on saltines. And if you have a salsa that doesn't have a lot of flavor, you can add this to it to get your flavor. There you go.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, so the next one we're gonna make is guacamole. All right, so do you wanna cut up a few more tomatoes and all the good stuff?
Okay.
Here's the other, and we can just use a quarter and a quarter because we're gonna make the mango salsa too.
Okay, sure.
All right, so the next thing we're gonna talk about is avocados. We already did kind of talk about this one's not ripe. It's not ready to go. You can feel it, it's really hard. The way to get these to ripen up is to sit it on your counter until it turns the color you want and then put it in the fridge and you can store it for a couple weeks. So once they get to ripeness, as long as you put them in the fridge, they quit really turning. If they're really dark, this one's perfect. This one's ready to go, as are these little ones. So I'm gonna show you how I prep avocado with the small one and maybe one of the big ones. First, I'm gonna clear the jalapenos off my cutting board. All right, so the easiest way to cut an avocado, I line it up with the seed and then I go the long way. And you kind of have to rotate the knife or rotate the avocado on the knife around the seed, and then you're gonna twist it gently and pull it apart. And that is an absolutely beautiful, perfectly ripe avocado. You see that purple, reddish, brown color on the outside? It's perfect, okay? These are from Aldi. You don't have to spend an arm and a leg to get amazing avocados. The way to get the seed out is, again, being careful with your knife. You're gonna aim, twist, and pop the seed out. All right, so you need the tomatoes. You need a bowl.
Yeah, just a bowl to split them.
You like the pico?
All right, we'll leave this one up here too.
Because we need to get some chips on the way home.
Uh-huh. So we're gonna slice up a few of these avocado. If we get a bad one, I'll tell you about it. The other way to know if it's ready is if it still has the stem in it and it easily pops out. That
Then
means
it's
it's
good?
ripe. if you start cutting into an avocado that is brown on the outside, but it feels extremely rubbery, it's just not quite ripe yet. And they do say that you can microwave it. I've not had good luck with that to get it to taste good and to be.
It softens up, but it just doesn't taste right.
Yeah, it's a little rubbery. What do you think so far? Is this kind of fun?
Yeah.
Is this something you can go home and cook at home, do you think?
Yeah.
I made pico once off a recipe on the internet, but it was pretty good.
Yeah.
People I was cooking with also liked it.
That's good.
I don't think it was too different from your recipe.
Yeah.
Can't remember.
It's pretty
anything
basic
different.
ingredients,
I
yeah.
remember there was definitely lime juice, cilantro. It might not have been the exact ratio of everything, but all the same ingredients nonetheless.
Yeah.
It's always nice when you cook something and people like it too.
Yeah. So the way I prep for my mango salsa is I start and I just kind of
Slice it with
slice it inside the
skin.
into little cubes, and then you can use a spoon to scoop it out because I kind of like chunky avocado in my mango salsa. When you are making guacamole, you can use a spoon, scoop it out, and just mash it all up and have a good time. So the next thing I want to show you is how to cut a mango. Have you ever opened a mango or cut a mango before?
I have not.
All right, so it is one of those that it takes a little bit of practice, a little bit of patience, and being very careful with the knife because they get pretty slippery. All right, so I've got 4 of these diced up for the mango salsa, and then I'll let you cut a couple more for the guac, okay? Did you want the big knife?
Either way,
There's a big green knife too. I don't know
it's
how
just
sharp
kind
it
of
is.
dull.
Okay.
This one's okay.
Is it? All right. So I want to get a good ripe mango here. And again, I'm able to
A
push
little bit
my
squishy.
thumb in it. Yeah. You can't really see on camera that I'm making a dent in it, but I am making a dent in it. I've got some cilantro under my thumbnail there. All right. So some people peel their mango. I am not skilled like that. So what I do is I stand it up on end. There is a flat seed in the middle. And so what I do is I start just a little off to the side, and when you hit, it feels almost like Velcro. You hit some resistance,
Just trying to go around.
go around it. Yep. And then you do that on the other side. And this one's a beautiful, juicy, delicious mango here. But you see it's a little bit slippery, so you gotta be careful with your knife. All right, so there we go. So we have 2 halves of the mango. And then you can kind of take off the extra if you feel so inclined. You just want to trim the skin off of it because the skin is not easy to eat at all. There's the seed. You see it right there?
I didn't know if that seed would be white.
Yep. All right, and so the way I cut mango to make it super easy on myself is, again, just like
Kind of like the avocado.
with the avocado, yep, you kind of make it into a grid, and this one's super juicy, which means it's gonna be super yummy. And then I take it and I push up the middle
Oh,
and I turn it inside out. You can use this as a decoration if you want.
It's like a porcupine.
Yep. And then I just take my knife and gently shave those cubes off. And they're almost bite size at that point.
I never thought to do that.
It's just so much easier and it's kind of fun. All right. So I'll just do that with the other half. You can see the parts where I was trimming off the seed. What I'm gonna do is try to kind of tear it off the skin a little bit.
So really, best part for it to be peeled was the centerpiece.
Right.
'Cause
Yeah. This
what
is
the thing you just did with that outer piece. It seems like this skinning it's
it's
peeling
not
it's
as easy. Yeah, and
peeling
it's
it's not required.
right.
But the little chunks you took out the middle.
Yeah.
that's good on them.
You like both of them? Both salsa and the pico?
You like better? Probably that one, right?
Yeah, I like this one better.
You want more
Yeah.
in there?
Both though.
I love to hear that.
But I do like this one better because it's easier to scoop.
Mm-hmm.
This one you have to like.
Alright. I'm gonna flip that inside out again. This one's nice and soft, so it's gonna kind of blend together in the bowl too. It's not gonna be as crunchy as a less ripe mango. Now, there are recipes out there for watermelon salsa. There are recipes out there for cranberry salsa. I will vouch for cranberry salsa at Thanksgiving. It's one of the best things you can have with corn chips. It's really tasty. Yeah. So you can use just about any fruit with cilantro, onion, and a little bit of jalapeno and make a salsa.
I've never heard of like a
So is
salsa before.
you didn't mention tomato? Is this replacing the tomato kind of?
There's gonna be tomato in this one, but in the cranberry and watermelon salsa, those do replace
Oh,
the tomato. Yeah. So, all right, which bowl are we putting the mango salsa in? All right. I'm gonna move this over there. I still put garlic and salt and pepper on the sweet salsas, just not as much, because it's a flavor.
right.
The next vegetable we're gonna cut up is the pepper, and this one is gonna go in the mango salsa. It doesn't go in the guacamole. I'll show you the way I like to cut a pepper, just to save me a little time and not have as much pepper waste. And it took me a little time to figure that one out. And I know that there's videos on YouTube everywhere that'll teach you how to do things. So I figured I'd show you today. All right, gotta clean up as we work. All right, so which pepper are we gonna use? The yellow one or the orange one or
Yellow.
yellow? All right. Picking favorite colors. So this one's gonna be a little challenge for my favorite cutting technique, but we can still
It's
do it.
shaped a little different.
Mm-hmm. So there are male and female peppers. This is a female pepper because it has 4 knobs on it. The male pepper has 3. So this one, because it's so dipped in here, I'm gonna do it just a little bit different. I like to pick out the middle, so we're not dealing with as many seeds. The next trick that's really important, especially to not cut yourself, is to cut on the inside rather than the outside so your knife doesn't slip. So we're gonna make pepper strips first, and then we're gonna dice those up.
As the guacamole is probably going to take up some more space, so
All right.
transfer mango salsa into this one. So it's just same deal, just mangoes are moving over here.
Yeah, and I do put avocado into the mango salsa, just not quite as much. That's straight up guacamole. You wanna
You're
taste?
not really removing all the white stuff.
Nope. This one I will. But sometimes it's easier for me to remove it as I cut too.
Okay.
You want to taste the yellow pepper with nothing on it just to see what it tastes like?
Yeah.
There you go.
Are we just going to do one pepper today?
Yeah.
I like pepper.
Did you say you like it?
Yeah.
It's kind of sweet, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you can get certain veggies that they've done some sort of hybridization with, and they'll have a lemon flavor. They have tomatoes that are chocolate flavored, lemon flavored, sweeter, sour. I used to work with a doctor whose husband had a pickle farm, And he grew a whole bunch of heirloom tomatoes that were all those different flavors, and it was really remarkable how much you could tell the difference. All right.
I will say there's another way that I haven't really seen done before for the peppers. If you want to show it, or I can show it.
Sure. Is it with the strips or cutting?
It's pretty similar.
Yeah. Yeah. If you,
It's pretty much you can really just do it with two, but you'll find your two deepest little
you can come
indents.
over here and show it on the camera.
Yeah.
And I do use the whole pepper. All right. So there's our yellow pepper. Andrew's going to show us another technique. You can use the big knife if you want.
So you just set it on its top and find the two deepest where it crosses.
Yeah.
You'll cut down, but not all the way through. I don't know how well I'm explaining that, but
You don't want to cut the stem.
don't want to cut the stem. And then you can just pretty much break it open
Lovely.
and
Thumb on the inside of it. Can't really see it.
thumb on the inside.
Yep.
And then just break the stem off.
So
And then you just
kitchen
start from
prep
there.
cooks that don't have a lot of time to do a lot of little cuts, they make it faster. All right, but yeah, we can cut this at home. We're gonna make this to take home too.
Yep.
So, all right, so now we're gonna go ahead and, you wanna hand me the mango salsa?
Yes.
All right, so we've got our little bowl here, and I guess you'll have to hand me back the avocados as we go. So we have lovely orange mango, red tomato, purple onion, yellow pepper, and we're gonna put in our green avocados. And this is one where you can put jalapeno in it to give it a little bit of spice, because with all of the sweet, you want a little bit of the savory. And I am gonna put in a little dollop of garlic here, as well as a little tiny bit of oil.
You're just not putting that in the guac.
Right. This is a Martha Stewart hint from back in the day. And we're gonna use lime and lemon. And this one, try not to get the seeds in here, catching them in my hand as I squeeze. All right, so it gives it a really bright flavor. And it,
Half a lemon, half a lime.
yeah, you could probably get away with this small bowl with a quarter of a lemon. So this one might be a little more citrusy than the other. And this lime isn't quite as ripe as the last one. So I'm
But
gonna,
it should be sweeter with the yellow pepper because that's the sweetest variation of the rainbow. So
The rainbow is the sweetest.
all right, so next we're gonna put just a little bit of salt and pepper, and I need another avocado in here.
another hole.
Yeah, and then is there another spoon left over there?
I have a fork and then a serving
Oh,
spoon.
we're gonna go ahead and put the garlic in for the guac then, and I'm gonna use it.
Okay.
And so do you wanna also give me a little cilantro for this one?
Sure.
Thank you.
Do you need a cut?
If you'd like. So again, we're just gonna scoop this out without mashing it, because we're just gonna stir this one in. And I had big bowls, but I used them for
Chip.
display. She's like, it's so good I don't want a chip. That's good.
Yeah, she's never really been picky as far as veggies and stuff.
That's excellent. I wish that was
I
every,
was way pickier as a kid.
were ya? All right, so we're just gonna kind of toss this together. See how the colors just kind of come out there. Also gonna give this one a little bit of salt and pepper. All right. And then, do you want to do one more jalapeno?
Okay.
And we'll split that between this and the guac. This is one you can prepare ahead and let sit for a couple days if you're making it ahead of a party. These,
You can sit longer and go.
yeah, just don't use a whole bunch of onion, and if the onion when you cut it makes you cry, maybe not. This onion was not strong. It did not give us any tears when we cut it that I remember.
Guacamole is also one. It's good to make like 6 hours before the party, so all the
Yeah.
things get to kind of aeromate with each other.
But if it's a couple days old, then it's a
Too
problem.
much.
Yeah, because the onion again gets really strong. So another dish that we like to make, it's basically our guacamole with some cucumbers and shrimp in it, and we call it ceviche. That's not traditional ceviche. You go to the Mexican restaurants and they'll make it and call it shrimp cocktail. Secret ingredient in that is ketchup. So yeah, it just gives it more of the creaminess. And it's a little bit of
So
sugar,
it's-
a little bit of
It's
vinegar,
guac, shrimp, and what?
cucumber. Yep.
And you cook.
You don't even cook it. So the shrimp, I tend to pre-cook it. You can technically
Pre-cook
cook the shrimp in lime juice,
Yeah.
but for me, if I'm preparing it for other people, I definitely want to have pre-cooked shrimp just because I don't want to risk any problems there. All right, you ready to try this one?
Yeah.
Okay, let me get you a cup with this. All right, here's our mango salsa.
Yay.
A little bit of the good stuff. There you go. All right, so I'll start helping Andrew with avocados, and we'll finish up with guacamole.
Do you have an avocado spoon?
I don't, so. Oh, here.
Yeah.
I thought you meant like one of the fancy avocado spoons that they sell. I'm like, no, not that fancy. If I just cut them in half, you good?
You have an avocado spoon.
Yeah, it has like a blade form and all that.
Yeah, it'll slice them like we did with a knife.
Oh,
You have to still cut it in half.
so you use the blade part to do that part?
So
with the spoon?
it's a curved thing with 3 or 4 different lines in it. It's like an egg slicer, but you just swipe it through and it
Oh,
cuts the
cuts it in
avocado.
pieces? It doesn't just. You said it makes a couple lines through.
Yeah, so it's just
Cool.
one of those non-essential
time.
kitchen tools. Yeah, it's one of those that if you like avocado toast or you like perfectly
If you
sliced
do
avocado,
Avocados enough, you know, it might be worth it.
yeah, maybe if you do it enough, you would learn that mashed avocado is just as good as sliced avocado. All right, how many more do you need?
We're at 3, 4. So how much do you want to make?
Well, I want it to be the right mix.
Okay. So we'll need 2 more probably.
2 more, okay, because they're small.
Yeah. Maybe 3 since they're kind of little, but that's okay.
Okay. I was hoping
you like
one of
that?
these would be not a
Versus-
good avocado, so I could show you what a
versus
bad avocado looks like.
You like
But
that one better than the pico?
thank you, Aldi.
I like
They haven't given us any bad avocados. That one's bruised. It's not bad, but it's bruised, so
Right.
you can still eat that part.
Do you want any jalapeno in the guac?
If you want to do just a little bit of what you cut up. Or did you? You didn't use the whole thing, did you?
Oh, I cut the whole thing up.
But you got,
Oh,
yeah.
I want the whole thing.
Yeah, so there's an itty bitty avocado. See that?
Little
Little
seed.
tiny seed.
It's a baby.
And then if your hands are clean and you don't really care about like getting your hands a little bit dirty, you can just knock the seed out with the thumb. Oh, I'll shoot sometimes, but just knock it out with the thumb in the trash. And then
Especially if
spoon.
they're loose.
Yeah.
If it's not quite ripe, like these are perfectly ripe.
Yeah.
If it's not quite ripe, they stick. They tend to stay around.
So I'll pick that seed up in a second. But
It's alright, I'll just grab it. 'Cause my luck, I'll step on it and slide. And it is very oily, so that's something to also remember, that it can get really slippery when you're working with avocado too. So we have some amazing flavors today, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is this a new favorite thing that you can go home and make with your dad? Yeah.
Mhm.
All right. So I am going to be able to send home some things. I've got a couple to-go containers. They're awkward, but you can still take it to go and
Yeah.
enjoy it. What was your favorite thing that you learned today?
That you learned. I mean, you could still say the mango salsa.
Yeah, that you like
I like-
peppers.
Did you learn
I learned about the mango.
how to cut the mango?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I've never cut a mango.
Yeah.
We might need
I've had
one
eaten
more.
mango.
One
but
more?
Yeah.
All right. Easy. Got it.
I liked your your pepper.
Yeah, it really
Cutting
knocks them out fast. Yeah.
All right. And so he's just going to mash all of this together, Junior.
And I guess the lime roll,
Mm-hmm.
the juice.
Yeah, it gets it going. I didn't roll it because I have a messy workstation,
Yeah.
so that would have helped that not quite ripe lime be a little juicier. Do you need me to slice cilantro, or did you do it already?
I didn't put enough in there.
Okay.
I got what I had left from the.
Okay. So yeah, we like cilantro in our house, so.
I'm gonna go wash my hands.
Sure. All right, so we'll make our little bundle of cilantro again here.
I would like to get some better knives.
Knives make a huge difference.
I just have cheap,
Well, what I'm using today is the Binging with Babish knife set that my son got for Christmas last year from his dad. And they're very affordable for good knives. My favorite, I like Henkel knives. They're really sharp. They have warranties on them. You'll spend money at the beginning to get them, but they will last you a very long time. I've had 2 sets in my life because one of them moved out of the house. Not because they went bad.
Right.
So it's one of those, there's all different kinds of brands. You can spend, hundreds of dollars per knife. If it's for home, I would say a good set of starter Henkels would be excellent.
Henkel.
Yeah. There's a type called a Santoku. This is a mix between a chef knife and a Santoku. A Santoku has
the
a
little grooves in it,
straight,
right?
yep, and it's more curved down with a flatter blade.
Oh, I was thinking like the little indents.
It does. It has the indentations along the side. You're
What are
right.
those for?
Those are,
Suction.
yeah, it holds the food together so it doesn't fall over as you're cutting. You can pull your knife through it.
Oh,
Yeah. Makes the layer gaps.
Yeah, and I really like them because I can cut quicker with them. Chef knives are a little bit bigger than I like. The Santoku is just about an inch shorter, and I like that because I can cut pretty quick with those, just with the way I'm used to it. So, all right,